Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
Special thank you to today's sponsors, Carrie Whitlatch Farmers Agency. For all your insurance needs, call Carrie at 541-258-3995. And Be Loved Care Homes, home health care service in Salem, Oregon. For more information, go to www.beloved.info. Good morning, everybody. Man, I am so excited this morning. I have two great friends, and we're going to have a great discussion this morning. So if you're tuning in live, make sure and share this, spread it out to all your friends, let them know that we're on having this discussion. It is a special time today and a special episode. Normally, Marketing with Russ is every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. A special episode today, though, and actually having a special episode next week as well on Tuesday at the same time. So just to let you know ahead of time. Anyway, I just want to remind you, I'm Russ Hedge. I am an inspiration specialist. I'm a coach. I'm a motivational speaker. I am here to encourage and inspire you. You know what? There's so much I can do to help you find purpose in your life that will drive your business and everything that you're doing. Because, you know, lacking purpose, lacking drive, and when you feel lost, and during this time we've been going through, isolated and sometimes just really struggling, those are things I can help you with. And there's other great people that can help you during these times of isolation and struggle. And they're my two guests today. So we're going to jump straight to them. And we're going to first bring in Jason and see how he's doing this morning. Hey, Jason.
Russ, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm pumped from the introduction. I love that introduction, all those amazing humans that I'm seeing on your introduction that have been with you.
Well, you're so encouraging. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. And tell everybody a little bit. I mean, everybody should already know you, but those people that don't know, Jason Lebowitz of XXO Connect, tell us all about you.
Yeah, I'm the founder of XXO and XXO Connect, and now Rock Vision as well, the platform built for connection to self first. And I'll kind of save everything else for as we get into the conversations today. I'm looking more for the conversation than the promotion today.
Well, you know, I want to say that I'm so excited about Raquel and Rock Vision and all that, because I have been blessed to be a teeny itty bitty part of connecting some people that she has really connected with and been able to utilize on that. And that's such a blessing. And so I'm just thankful every day when God gives me those opportunities to be able to do that. So, all right, we're going to bring Michael in and we're going to say hi to him. Hey, Michael.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
So Michael is all the way over in Germany. And so it's already what, late afternoon for you?
Yeah, it's already 4:30 in the afternoon.
Wow. Yeah, your day's winding up. So tell us a little bit about you, Michael, for those people that don't know you already.
Yes, Michael Keating, originally from Ireland, but living sort of outside my country for the last 30 years and now currently in Germany. Yeah, my passion is people. human relations. I want people to be 100% human, as you see here. Wrong side. So I'm looking forward to our discussion today about human connection, particularly in our digital age, as we call it. We're in a challenging times, and COVID has made it really focused. So let's get into it.
That's so great. You know, what I love about you too, Michael, every time that we get done chatting, I always get this message with all the stuff we've been talking about jotted down and written and doodled all over his thing, but it's doodling with purpose. So doodling is probably not the right word. It's just what I'm using currently. But it's kind of like a roadmap to the discussion that we had, which I just love that. So I'm sure I will see that today and can share that with everybody.
I will indeed. They are my mad mind maps. Michael's mad mind maps.
There you go. You should. Do you have that copyrighted?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's so good. Well, listen, we're going to jump right into things. And, you know, I was thinking the other day, I've really wanted to have some more topic-driven subjects. And so last Friday, I had a Russ Reels program, which is one of my other live shows, where I had a really super good discussion with a couple ladies that were outstanding. And we were talking about mindset and how days of the week affect that. And it really drove a lot of interest. And today I was thinking, you know, we are all right now in the situation where people are struggling. They're struggling with loneliness. They're struggling with the feeling of isolation. They're struggling with really knowing where to go because things have changed so much in the last year. So, Jason, we're going to start with you. And, you know, you have come up with this great network, XXO Connect, really to drive conversation, to drive connection, now birthing Rack Vision with Raquel Boris too, which is outstanding. So let's talk a little bit about that.
I believe connection is the root of it all. And as Michael's talking about human connection, and that's why we're here today. And we're here right now, very present, no distractions, away from all the noise, just having a human conversation here, human connection. And I believe we're more connected than ever before. We have all these great platforms, and we have all these hundreds of thousands plus of these apps to stay connected. And yet, as you say, loneliness and isolation, anxiety, depression, cyberbullying, suicide, all these things are on the rise. And self-worth, mental health, and connection are on the fall. And I feel that we're valuing our worth based on metrics. We're living in this metrics-based world. Our worth is based on likes, followers, friend requests, connections, not connection, but connections. And at the end of the day, we just want to be accepted. We don't want to be rejected. We haven't accepted ourselves. And to me, that true connection is when we accept ourselves first and we align to ourselves. We have that healthy relationship with ourselves. And it begins with it begins with us. As I say, connection begins within and travels outward, but it also is in sharing space with other people, having these real conversations where we can get to know each other. We're not here to judge each other. We can just have a real conversation. And so I love these spaces where we're here for no other purpose than really get to know each other and ourselves.
Well, and you know, I think what's interesting, I think a lot of times social media does a disservice as far as talking about your connections, because your connections are not necessarily people you're really connected to. So to me, and then Michael, we're going to bounce to you. To me, being really connected is what's happening right now, because I have already met both of you, befriended both of you, talked to both of you several times, stay in touch with both of you. That's what true can, and then we can have true conversations like this. That's connection. Connection is an ongoing relationship, a process. To me, it's not a boop, I hit a button, we're connected on LinkedIn. Woohoo! You know, I mean, most of my connections on LinkedIn, I barely know them. You know, even when I try, I mean, sometimes you try and people just want to sell you stuff. And I usually say, okay, have a great week. I'll see you later. Because to me, that's not connection either. So Michael,
yes,
your turn.
Yeah, no, I think Jason says it quite nicely in terms of relationships, because, you know, we want to build relationships with other humans, but the most important variable of building a meaningful relationship is a form of interaction that has intimacy. really understanding the other person, having those conversations to really understand, how is this person today? How is this person feeling? We are emotional beings, and we tend not to interact too emotionally with each other, but we should. This is the most important way of being. And so often when I start a conversation with people, I ask them, instead of "how are you," I say, "how are you feeling at this moment?" And that generates a much different kind of conversation, because we're talking on the emotional level. And really, that then can lead to a connection that is deeper and more meaningful, and you have a feeling of connection. So I think that's really important. And I say 100% human, which side am I at? It's about, embracing that you are how you are, and trying to be somebody else, and presenting that kind of fake picture of yourself, it doesn't do any favors for you. So if you can be true to your own identity, as Jason was saying, and then be encouraged to speak and talk to people about that, that can lead to powerful relationships.
Well, and that's really what relationship and connection is all about too, is being able to speak to one another, being able to lean on one another. I don't know, the two of you know D. Scott Smith, my co-host of The Experience. Well, Scott talks about leaning into your network in a business sense, but we need to be able to lean into our connections and our real network of friends, people that we have relationship with, and be able to depend on them and be able to talk to them like, hey, guys, I am really feeling really anxious today. And this is something I'm struggling with, because I know that I shouldn't be this way, but because of things going on, and be able to talk to people about these kind of things. By the way, both of you, I feel awesome today, so all is good, but it's not perfect, but I feel good. Anyway, and that's another thing that is very interesting, because sometimes people, Jason, are afraid to really connect with somebody because they see you up there, and you have it all together. Your life is perfect. You're up there, you're on XXO Connect, you've done all these great things, and people think, well, I'm not like that. I have too many problems. So it's hard for them to relate. And don't you think people really need to know that we all struggle? We all have challenges. It doesn't matter, what our attitude is. Things are still going to come at us. I mean, it matters what our attitude is, but you know what I mean? We're still going to deal with the same things everybody else does. It's how we choose to deal with those. And I think that's when we have that true connection. We can come together, talk about those things, right?
Absolutely. The way how XXO came together is because of my past, my stories, and I don't, what you just explained, Russ. Like, if anybody saw my post yesterday of putting myself out there, I put myself out there all the time. My stories are out there. I talked about, my car being for repoed, and me having to hide my car because I needed to get my son to the hospital the next day, and I couldn't get the car in the garage because I couldn't afford to fix the garage, and so I had to I put those stories out there. That's real life.
Right.
So I'm no different than anybody else. It's how I choose to live my life. And before, everything Michael said was just gold. I mean, we're talking about a fear of vulnerability and intimacy. And to me, if it was an equation, vulnerability times intimacy equals connection, the root of it. And people don't understand right now, this is real intimacy. This is an intimate conversation. And when we have a fear of it, we keep running to the noise, the distraction, social media. Great place if you have a healthy relationship with yourself and you don't need to have the metrics to fuel you. And I call it artificial happiness. It's temporary. It's an addiction. It feeds quick, but it goes away. It's that motivation, that caffeine kick that's going to come down at some point. This is real. And even with XXO, all the conversations, we have real conversations. I put myself out there just like everybody else does. And we have a place where we don't have to fear that judgment, fear that shame, fear that embarrassment. We all have it. We all have the exact same story that I just told of my repo and my hiding the car story in a different form. There's nothing to be embarrassed. We all have those.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael?
Yeah, no, sharing, true intimate stories about yourself is really the key to allowing people to see the real you, If you take social media, I hate to talk about social media, but we are part of it, and you see so many people trying to present this fantastic, perfect picture of themselves in photographs or images or even words. There's no such thing, we all are sort of at failing. Yeah. We're all failing in something, some part of our lives. So, being able to be really true to yourself and communicating that really then allows others to also open themselves up to their failings and to their humanness, as I would call it, and to be 100% human. Yeah. You've got to actually feel good about yourself when you're not good. Yeah. So I think it really is key. Interesting enough, in preparation of this sort of talk we're having today, I was doing some research and I found a book by a guy called Dan Schwabel, and it was called Back to Human. And what he was talking about was the idea of having experience renaissance. This idea of really when you want to have an experience with another human being, that is a different kind of connection. Yeah. Now, of course, in COVID, it's much more challenging because we're here online and, you're not with somebody, but still it's possible. If you really show your emotions and really give into that space, yeah, as Jason said at the start of the discussion, find that space to really build, camaraderie and a relationship. So that's really key.
Yeah. I think that one thing that's important too is people, this as much of a blessing as this has been, I would have never known you, Jason or Michael, without the platforms that we're on, right?
True.
Well, you never say never, but it wouldn't have been now. So, but it's important too to also get ourselves out there in whatever real true connection we can get in person. Like today, I'm actually in a situation where I can meet with a small group of people in person. To me, that makes a big difference because as much as I love this, and this is way better than texting or a phone call, the getting out there and seeing real people just really, it does something for us. And I know that there's times like this last year when we absolutely could not do that. I get that. But we need to take advantage of things we can and try to mix it up a little bit. Because I think that's important, because if we get locked into just digital, then people do get locked in, Jason, like you said, escapism with social media and what they want to be and the dreams and hopes, which dreams or hopes are good. But if we're just putting up what we dream and hope we are and trying to make people think that's what we are, that's not the real us, and that's not real connection.
It's that comparison. We get caught in the comparison of against everybody else and what that picture looks like of what they're showing. They're not showing quite everything possibly, but we get addicted to that, comparing to that, and we need to have that. That's not really real. Let's see underneath what's going on, and it doesn't always look the same.
Yeah.
And the reality is, why do we have to even look at that and compare? Why can't we stay in our own alignment and live our life, right? Let's create our own life.
Don't you think it makes people, when people see what we're really going through, don't you think it really helps with that connection?
Russ, 100%. Because yeah. I believe we become more relevant and we resonate more the more that we expose ourselves for who we are. And I think exposing ourselves for who we are is actually the intimate, that's the vulnerability. That's the beautiful thing of the individuality of getting to know each other. And yet a lot of us are afraid to be exposed for who we are. To me, it's a beautiful thing, just as you said, Russ.
It is interesting to me because I think sometimes it's a good indication. Social media can be a good indication of when you're really connecting with people on a more intimate level, when they are engaging more, whatever that is on the social media. And what I mean by that is, I can put up a thing about a podcast and get a certain amount of engagement, whoop, whoop, people say there's a bazillion podcasts and and all that, but I can put up information about my mom who has Alzheimer's and in with her, just loving her in midst of the struggle. It's a struggle. It is. I mean, it's my mom and she barely knows who I am anymore. And so I have to deal with that. And I've learned, how to keep a positive attitude and deal with that and how to have fun with her in that situation. But it's a real situation that a lot of people are dealing with. And so people tend to engage more because it means more to them, because they're saying, I am dealing with that or something like that. Michael,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that's very powerful because, what you're doing is you're showing, as Jason said, your vulnerability, that you have worries and fears, and that you're dealing with, sort of a very private situation with your mother. You're making that public, and that's powerful, and we should all be doing that in our conversations, because that's the level of intimacy that people love to hear about. And resonate, that word, Jason, fantastic. I love that word, resonate. It really describes this kind of human connection that we want to have. And it's difficult to generate that resonance. It nearly happens by chance, but it'll only ever happen if we let down our guard a little bit and show our vulnerability.
Yeah. And I think it really makes us feel better. I mean, it helps me when I'm talking about what I'm going through, right, Jason?
Yeah, it's an energy, the way that Michael described, it's an energy that we give off. And yes, I think so many of us feel alone. Like, we've held on to the shame or guilt or embarrassment or these emotions. We feel like we're alone. Nobody else would understand. Nobody else has gone through that. And that's not the case, but that's how we feel. But it's not the case. And I was going to share a quick story that kind of really ties this together. Was my sister, who really is not into social media. She doesn't spend any real time in social media, but she was working on a project and looking at a certain type of a makeup. And so she found herself going into TikTok to find an influencer who was talking about this particular product. And she went into the comments inside TikTok, and comment after comment after comment. And this is really interesting, is that the followers or the people who were commenting on it said, you're here talking about this makeup and how great it is, and how natural and this and that. And yet you've used all these filters and you're hiding behind this and you're not actually being real. And I really enjoyed how the people were actually calling the person out and saying, let's be real, like take the filters off. Let's see actually what it is. We'd actually more relate to this, resonate to this, respond to this, respect this. If you'd actually let your guard down and influence and show the product for what it is, we'd actually want it more. And I thought that was to me, that was a breaking point. Like that was a pivotal point, a tipping point in what we're talking about.
I stopped using filters on social media pictures because, I'm not going to say I'm never going to use a filter. If there was something wrong with lighting and you couldn't see it, I might. But that was what I first was doing. But then I was using these filters and I thought, it's ridiculous. So I quit doing that, because to me, it almost altered my mindset about things a little bit, even though I was just having fun, and they were Russ selfies, which are always fun, by the way. But the biggest thing that I think with this whole thing, talking back to my mom real quick, is that we are all dealing with real situations, and we shouldn't hide behind filters. We shouldn't hide behind screens of things, because there's so many people out there dealing with that. And I can be honest with you. I mean, when I go to see my mom, sometimes I feel like bawling, but I don't, because I actually am super goofy and jump around and get her singing or doing something, but because I like to see her smile, and sometimes it takes a lot. And sometimes I do everything I can and she still doesn't. She'll go through those moments. And, sometimes I just think, God, why does she have to go through this, and why am I having to go through this and all that? But the real bottom line is I'm no different than anybody else. That's my struggle. And there's a lot of people that have that same struggle, but there's a lot of people that have other things. But when you connect with people on a real intimate level, like the two of you are talking about, it gives us strength. It gives us hope. It builds us up, because we're able to share that and have others share with us as well. And, it's really a beautiful thing. It is. And I commend you both for the things that you are doing, because I think you're really shining the light on human connection, and whatever form that takes now. I mean, whether we're all on Zoom or StreamYard or whether we're face to face, we have to do what it takes to get that connection. Michael, last words.
Yeah, I suppose I would challenge people, to put more effort into being real as in to be fake. Yeah, because, it's more freeing, you don't have to work on being fake. You just are who you are. And that's very sort of freeing in terms of your own mental stress anyway. So get into it. Get into being you. Yeah.
And how do people contact you and your organization to get more connected with you?
Yeah, connected with me is best on LinkedIn. Michael Keating is my name, from Keating Relations. I'm 100% human, so you can find me there.
All right. And I did link to that on the ads. And Jason, last words and connection.
Relationships are not built out of convenience. Relationships are built on connection. There's a big difference between connections and connection. That one letter, this is connection. So cheers to everybody. Michael, it was a pleasure meeting you. I definitely, we're going to have some good conversations offline as well.
Absolutely.
And best way to get a hold of me is xxoconnect.com and LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
I can't even begin to tell you guys how much I've enjoyed this, and the three of us are going to have to do this again. I think this is such a great topic, and the two of you have devoted your life to that now, and I'm all about connection as well. And I unfortunately don't get to talk to the two of you as much as I would like. So thank you so much again. Guys, hang tight. I'm going to say goodbye to you on the show, but I'll be right with you. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. What a blessing. Today, I'm actually remote and doing this broadcast from a chamber office in Corvallis, Oregon. And I just want to give a huge shout out and a thanks to Simon and the Corvallis Chamber for their blessing me with the ability to work with them and be a part of their organization. And I just really appreciate them. And that is where one of the places I've really learned to build human connection is through Chamber of Commerce's. So it's so great. And I actually get to see some people live and in person today, which is even greater at a meeting after this. So anyway, appreciate all of you tuning in today at the special time for Marketing with Russ, AKA #RussSelfie. And if you're watching this on replay, which I know most of you do, please share it. Please get the word out. Tell people that Marketing with Russ is every Monday and Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and that there's special episodes sometimes like this. And don't forget, next Tuesday, 7:30, we're going to have a special episode as well. Until we see you next time, have a great day and a great life. Stay connected. See ya.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.